idea, right? Before I take on any like business partner, I always say I want to meet your spouse because I noticed the spouse tells me a lot. If like I meet the wife tells me a lot about who the guy is.
Really important point that you just point out. It doesn't matter what gender you are. There's also an equal role in the household, and not all women should be in the kitchen, and not all men should be making the money.
Correct,
So,
correct. And nowadays, I think more and more women are becoming more like, they have their career, they have their kids. They're making more money, more and more so, definitely nowadays. And I totally agree that it's just working together and helping this family, making the family better, making sure everyone is happy. Yeah, I totally agree. I think you even share with me that you kind of have that on and off switch. It's not always on, right? You gotta know when to turn that off. I think finding that is very important, especially the type A personality. We're always on, but we have to know when to turn that off.
it's true. And is it true that a lot of businessmen, in order to influence your decision making, you go through the wife first?
Yeah, you see, it's one of the things I do. Like before I take on any like business partner, I always say I want to meet your spouse because I noticed the spouse tells me a lot. If like I meet the wife tells me a lot about who the guy is. If I've seen like the guy seems to be okay, I meet with the spouse. Let's say the spouse is, lack of a better word, like a golden. It's there, you can see. So I meet the wife. If the wife is okay, wow, I can see that the vibe is good and she's kind and she's nice. That tells me a lot about the husband. So that kind of thing, right? So the personality and vice versa. You meet the husband, tells you a lot about the wife. It's quite interesting. But yeah, on and off switch.
So what do you do for fun on dates with your wife?
We do a lot. Like we travel. I like to go to movies. I love going to movies with her. Sometimes she'll go shopping. I don't like shopping that much, but she likes. Men, we go in, we buy stuff, we get it done, right? But she likes to go shopping. But see, that's one thing I've learned. Before, I would thought, oh my God, this is a waste of time. So when we go shopping at the mall, in my mind, I'm calculating, no, my hour is worth a lot of money. Like you're wasting my money by here being 3 hours.
Yeah.
And I would get very grumpy. I would get frustrated. So let's go home, that kind of thing. But now I learn, you know what? No. This is her time. Put away the business head, the husband, right? Just be with her. To her, that's important. Yeah. So you can't calculate it that way. So just be there, be with her, have her. That's her time, right? She sacrificed so much for me, so that's great. So I don't think about that anymore. And you be patient, and as you know, like the wife wants the husband's feedback. Hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? How do I look? By the way, the answer is you look great. Always, always. There's only one answer. You look great. You never say no, I don't know, honey. You look a bit fat there. No, ever. You look great. And if you want to suggest something else, hey, honey, you look great. What about try this on? Try this on. That's how you do it, right? So I learned it the hard way.
Sounds like you can write a manual for a lot of men.
Yeah. No,
like a boot camp.
It's like she actually doesn't want your opinion. She wants your validation. And there's a difference. It's like. This I also learned from what's the book? Man from Mars, a Woman from Venus. That when your spouse or your wife is sharing her problems with you, she's not trying to get you to solve it. Like don't get into the solving consultant mode, right? Like let's say she's complaining about something that someone. Don't go into, oh, you should do this, you should do that, you should fix that, you should talk to them this way. No, they don't want it fixed. She just wants to express her feelings. And so in my case, I just be a good listener and just listen and let her talk. And after that, that's fine. She doesn't actually want to fix it. So I learned that. And she just wants to express her feelings and emotions, and she wants a good listener. So it's about communication, right? And she knows. So that's why, like before, when the first few years, we argue almost every week. Every week, and we had conflict because two different personality. And now, like we have like conflict, a fight maybe once a year for 20 minutes. Like we don't fight because there's nothing to. We don't argue. We don't fight, and that's good because now I know what her like kind of buttons are. I don't push that. I know she knows what my buttons are, and she doesn't push mine. And you know.
So you learn about each other's boundary. It sounds like it. It sounds very clear that even though you guys have maybe different point of views, but you understand your partner's boundaries. And in order to work together, you have to set yourself different from those belief values.
Correct.
But principle is and goals is really more important.
Yeah, and then we all both have to share our goals. We know where we are going, and we're going to the same pace. And then she knows how to motivate me, and she knows also when to challenge me. As a successful man, you might have a lot of what I call yes people around you. Everybody says yes, you can do it. Yes, you can do it. But she'll always challenge me. Well, I don't know if you can do it. And then I'm like, what do you mean I can't do it? Of course I can do it. I'll be the man. I'll do it. And then she knows that would put me a bit and challenge me to get it done.
Yeah.
So it's great. And I know what she's doing. So yeah, it goes back to communication. Just communicate. Like we talk, like you said, about the boundary stuff. We actually sit down and talk about it. I talk about here's what I won't tolerate. Here's what she won't tolerate. Just don't go there. Just don't say this. When you say that, I feel very hurtful. When I say that, she feels very hurtful. No, let's never use those words again. And after a period of time, you know, those are the things we don't say to each other. Like we would never say, you know, that's it, man. We were getting a divorce.
So what makes you work on the hard times in the relationships or within your business or yourself? Do you notice that difference or not? Especially if when your business is not doing so strong. You also mentioned earlier about, you know, when you don't have the time and investment and to do those things. How do you deal with something like that? So personal and traumatic within your business and your personal life.
That's a very good question. I think with my business, whenever I'm naturally more optimistic, so I'm always more solution focused. So if the business is struggling, I know it means one of these two things. It means there's something I don't know, or I'm doing it wrong. Because if I could see other people succeeding in a similar industry, well, it means there's a demand in the marketplace. Either there's something I don't know, or I'm not doing it right. So then it's my problem. So I just focus on solution. Okay, if there's something I don't know, let me get the knowledge. Let me read the books. Let me get the guidance. Let me go to a seminar. Whatever it is, let me get the knowledge first. Once I get the knowledge, I can kind of look at what I'm doing. Okay, am I doing it right? Am I implementing it right? And so I always like to self-reflect. So, and I don't focus on the problem. You can't just focus on the problem. Oh, you know what? I'm not getting enough clients. Well, that's an effect. It's called, what's the cost of that? Just by, I'm not getting enough clients. Oh my God, it's so sad. But if I look at the cost, okay, what am I doing that creates that? Or maybe I'm not out there enough. Maybe I'm not in the right place, targeting the right people. Or when I'm sitting down with a prospect, I'm not communicating my value. All those things I could work on.
Yeah.
I can work on myself. So I look at the cost. So I don't focus my time on problem. I just focus on, hey, you know what? Let's get to work. Here's the solution. Let me try that. If that doesn't work, okay, here's the solution. Let me try that again. So I don't even spend time thinking about it. I just go, let's focus on solution. That's a little of my personality. With my relationship, however, it's a little bit different. With relationship, I like to reflect. Like say with relationships that didn't work out, I don't just think of, oh, that person is bad, or that person is not a good fit. It's not that, how come that didn't work? How come, is it my fault? Is it my communication? Is it the way I express my love? Or like, what's going on here? So even though relationship that didn't work out, I like to self-reflect and say, hey, what can I learn from that? So that's always been in my DNA. What can I learn from that? And then I think it goes on and on. And after a period of time, I mean, you don't have to be super smart. You would find certain pattern, right? So although like, as you know, when I talk, as you know, I'm not a relationship expert or anything like that, but I do understand human psychology.
Yeah.
Like I do understand the man and woman dynamics because I like to self.
And it's really interesting when you were talking about earlier about your wife is you know, the book that you read, Woman is from Venus and Men are from Mars. It's a quite interesting book, and you know, you were saying a lot about like listen to how she feels first with trying to solve the problem. And, you know, there's a statement that I made it really clear that, you know, in order for a woman to do good, she has to feel good to do good. And a man is you got to do good to feel good.
Very true. Very true. Very true. Yeah. I think men, we are more like make things happen, do stuff. We want to solve it. Let's solve the problem. But yeah, I agree with you. Women, they need to express the feelings. Not that I don't give her advice, only if she asks. If she doesn't ask, I don't say anything. Just let her share her story. But if she says, you know, what do you think? You know, I'm thinking of doing A, B, C, and D. What do you think? Then I might say, well, you know, I think A is good, but maybe B, you know, is my perspective. But, you know, you make the decision. So only if she gives me permission to give her like advice, I would do that. Otherwise, I don't.
That's a really interesting response that you actually have culturally or within your relationship. And not a lot of people can do that, is they just dump on the solution to the partner and assume they understand the concept.
No.
I think what's really clearly that you're stating is that you ask permission before giving it out, or you wait until it's asked for.
Yeah, and sometimes sometimes I would, because I know that's not the right decision, but sometimes I'll let her just go and do it. Because sometimes I think as a partner, you need to know, let's say for business wise or certain life experience, I just have a little bit more experience, and I know that's not the right thing to do. But I'll let her just go do it and let her learn from that. And then she will come back and then we'll say, hey, you know, okay, it's okay, we made a mistake. What have we learned from it? And then I found that once she learned the lesson herself, then she won't do it again. Versus you telling her, no, you were wrong, don't do it, why you're so stupid, you shouldn't do that. Don't do that stuff. So there are times when I would just let her just go ahead and do it. That's okay. No big deal.
And not hurt the business. And it's really important how you were saying communication is really key to do that.
Yeah, and I define communication as message sent, message received, and message acted upon. That's communication. So business partner or employees that I let everyone around me knows, I would never like kind of take their head off for making a mistake. But I would be very mad if they don't try. So they know they can make mistakes as long as it's not life and death, right? It's not like bankrupt a company. Well, you made a mistake. Okay, what have you learned from it? That's okay. We fix it. We learn from it. So I always create that kind of culture. So it's okay to make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. So that's okay because it means we're growing. We're trying new things. Versus if the culture is, no, you don't make a mistake. You never try anything new. Don't rock the boat. Don't innovate. I mean, that kind of culture, I mean, the company's not going to grow.
Yeah. And it's really true when you were saying that, like, let people try. If you don't try, then you're almost good as dead, even within a relationship as well, like going on vacation, doing new things. I remember you were telling me, earlier before that, your wife is swimming for the first time on vacation with a life jacket.
Yeah, without life jacket. And also doing scuba diving, right? Like this first time. So it was quite an experience. I don't think I will do that again with her, like 9 years of retraining, but it was quite an experience. We just tried and it was fun, right? But it's about trying those new things. Now, without her, would I do it? Probably not. Probably not, because with her, she's like, yeah, let's try new things. Let's just try new food. Let's try some new experience. I'm like, what the heck? Let's do it. And more and more, it makes me more adventurous.
Yeah, I remember you were telling me that when you went to Japan, going to the spa for the first time. It's a whole different experience. Again, it's stepping outside your comfort zone.
That's right.
Even as an entrepreneur, and no matter how successful we are, we always push ourselves to the next level, right?
Yeah. And I now firmly believe as an entrepreneur, if I don't care how successful you are, if I don't care how much money you make, or what kind of status you have, if the relationship part that you don't have that piece, you're not happy. Forget it. Forget it. You need that piece. However, on the other hand, I think if you have that piece right, you have the right partner, it just propels you to that next level. That that it gives your work a little bit of meaning. Like when you're working your ass off and say, why am I killing myself doing this? Now you kind of have a purpose, right? So I would say that for sure. Yeah, you need it's not a piece that you can neglect and say, oh, it's not that important. It's the most important. Without that, everything we do doesn't mean a whole lot.
The woman gives you a purpose, especially your wife, that actually helps you to create that space to do that. If you were by yourself, you just be working and making a lot of money, and that doesn't mean happiness at the end of the day for you.
It doesn't mean happiness at all. Like I've seen very, very successful men who have been divorced 3 times, 4 times, and they live in this big house by themselves. Got divorced, the kids don't like them. I mean, they are absolutely miserable. Like they are not happy at all. All they can think of is the next thing, because they almost need to keep working to not face the truth and not face the reality of how empty their lives are. I've seen that a lot. It's quite sad. Mm-hmm. That's how they operate. They use that. They almost use work as a distraction, right? Some people use like alcohol as a distraction. Yeah. Some people use drugs as distraction, right? Some people use work as distraction.
Yeah,
that's kind of very, very sad. On the other hand, the guys, who have the right spouse, and you know what, those are pretty happy guys. They're pretty happy guys. So that's what I've learned. The relationship piece is you have to make it a priority in your life. That you got to work on it. It's not something that, oh yeah, I'll just give a little bit of attention and you hope that will flourish. It doesn't work that way. You got to put in the same amount of effort as if you were building a company, put the same amount of effort nurturing a relationship, and then you'll get amazing results.
That's a really good point that you made, that relationship is not by faith. It's actually require work.
Yes, it does. And in some cases, it requires more work. Not like physical work, but it requires more mental work. You got to nurture, you got to spend time, you got to think about it, you got to reflect. It's not something like you said, not just something you do. Like, man, we just do. You don't do relationship, right? Mm-hmm. It's not how it works. You got to think about it. You got to just be more patient and maybe sometimes willing to just put aside your own ego and put aside your own needs just a little bit, but put your partner first and say, hey, what does my wife want? What does my partner want? Yeah, I learned all these things. So, I mean, I'm fortunate, like fingers crossed, the relationship is great, that I'm very happy. Like I'm very, very happy. Without my wife, no, all these stuff doesn't mean a lot.
Yeah, it's very true when you were saying about not only that your wife makes you happy, but also that you only spend a lot of time communicating and you learn how to listen. If you found this video helpful, please share it with your friends, because sharing is caring. There is 3 things that you can do right now. You can subscribe to my newsletter, see the link below. When you're at there, go ahead, hit the like button, and remember to subscribe because I post news, social media, and video every week. If you have an idea for a video, please leave it in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.